Good morning, everyone. Yes, today we shall be talking about lesson 5, the water FLUME, creating the control flowchart. In lesson 4, I have explained how you can create control flowchart. You have to look at the problem that you are going to solve, because flowchart is a method used to solve a computer problem. Now we want to be creating control flowchart for the log FLUME. Now let us look at the objective. At the end of the lesson, the student should be able to control the gate by issuing instruction to motor. That is number 1 objective. Number 2, create the subroutines to open and close all of the gates used in the ride. Number 3, consider the problems of control when 2 logs are on the ride. Now the next slide, you have to think about the problem that you want to solve. In log FLUME, we have where the photograph can be taken. That is when the log is already in input 3. That is where the output 8, which is the camera shooter, that will be the camera shooter will be triggered for the photograph of the log to be taken. Now we want to create flowchart for the camera. We want to create for motor A, we want to create for motor B, we want to create for motor C. Don't forget, motor A, motor B, motor C, they are the devices used to open and close all the gates, all the 3 gates that we have in log FLUME. Now thinking about the problem, you now need to consider how 2 logs can be controlled on the ride. If there are 2 boats or logs on the ride, under what condition will it be safe to open the gate at the start of the ride? That is, the gate open and closed by motor A. That is the first gate. That is the motor that will open the first gate. This one now, they are talking about the safety. I'm talking about the safety. That is, when the first log moves, then the gate will close. The gate will close immediately, so that it won't allow another log to move in for security purpose or for safety purpose. On opening the gate, the boat will move on to the first part of the ride. Now the next slide. To allow the boat to move on to the first part of the ride, there needs to be a boat waiting. There must be a boat waiting. That is in input 1, and the sensor used in input 1 is what is called a pressure sensor. Now it must be safe for the boat to move off. All of the passengers must be safely seated on the boat. So input 5 is the switch. That will be pressed. So to indicate that the passenger in the boat are ready. Now let's move on. That number 3 now, there must not be a boat or log at the top of the ride. That is input 2, must therefore be off. That is, if there is no log at the top of the ride, which is input 2, then input 2 will be what? Will be off. So the detector in input 2, which is the pressure sensor, will be off. Now number 4, the belt motor must be started. That is the belt that will take the log to the top of the ride. Now, quick group work. Now let us look at this diagram very well. It says, study this diagram and write how the log FLUME will move from starting to ending point. Remember to mention all the input and output devices as they are concerned. If you look at the diagram very well, this is the diagram of what? Of log FLUME. You can see all the input and output. So this is the first gate. The first gate, you can see it where there is motor A. So motor A now is the motor, which is the output that will open and close the gate in the first gate. So the second gate is at the top of the what? Of the right, which is then the device that will open and close the gate is what is called motor B. Then another gate, you can see it beside motor C. That is the output, that is the motor that will open and close the gate in the second gate. Then you can see input 1, input 5, input 2, input 3, input 4. Now you can see output 8 and output 7. Output 7 is the belt that will take the log to the top of the right. Then output 8 is the camera shooter. That is when the log is at the position of input 3, then it means the log is at the right position for the photograph to be taken. So immediately output 8 will be triggered, which is the camera shooter. Now let us look at the next slide. Now we are going to create flowchart for camera. The camera is always the sub 1. In lesson 4, I have discussed what is called sub. Sub is more or less like what? Section by section. When you are creating flowchart, you cannot create flowchart at once. You have to make it. You have to break it down. You have to break it down. So we have sub by sub. So camera is always the first sub. You can see it now. Sub 1, which is the camera. Then sub 2. Sub 2, that is motor A open. If you see that OP, that is for open. So that is the flowchart that will open the gate. Then sub 3 will be the motor A, that is the close, that will close the gate. So it means that in each motor we'll be having two sub head, as in subroutine. We'll be having two subroutine for each motor. For motor A, we are going to have sub 2. We are going to have sub 3. For motor B, we are going to have sub 4 and sub 5. That is for open and close. Then for motor C, we are going to have sub 5 and sub 6. Sub 5 and sub 6. Now let us look at the sub 1 now. That is for the camera. Now they said, is input 3 on? The reason why they are making reference to input 3 is that is where the log will be for the photograph to be taken. You can see that we are introducing what? Decision symbol. That is why you can see it in form of question. Said, is input 3 on? Yes, if it is on, definitely output 8 will be on. Output 8 will be on. Now, then you will see a delay. That delay now is for the photograph to be taken. Then after the photograph has been taken, then turn output 8 off. Turn output 8 off. Then the next one now, they said, is input 3 on. So it's like it's a continuous process. You can see that you can't see stop there. It's a continuous process because it's not only one log that will use the ride. So it's a continuous. When a particular log is using the ride, getting to output input 3, the photograph will be taken. Then another one will move again. So that is why you can see it's a continuous process in this sub 1 for the camera. Are you getting it now? So you can see it now. It says yes. Then it will go back. It will go back again. But if it is no, it will go back to the original stage where it will get to input 3 for the photograph to be taken. So that this flowchart is for camera. Then the next flowchart now, which is sub 2, that is the flowchart to open the gate in the first gate, which is motor A, that will open the gate, that will open the first gate. You can see, turn motor A forward. That FD is for forward. It's more or less like what? Open. Then when they open it, definitely the log will pass. So that is where they are introducing that delay, so that it will take a little time for the gate to open and for the log to what? To pass through the gate. So when the log pass through the gate, then what will happen to motor A? Then there will be an instruction that turn motor A off. Then after turning motor A off, it means the gate will now be what? Is now ready to be closed. So you now introduce stop. Then you now move to sub 3. Sub 3 is motor A close, that is to close the gate, because the log have already passed through the gate. Now to prevent accident, now to prevent another log coming in again, so you have to write a particular instruction, or you have to create a flow chart that will close the gate in the first gate. So that is why we have sub 3, that is motor CL. That CL, motor A CL, that CL means close. Then turn motor A reverse. That reverse is to bring down the gate, that is to close the gate. Then you now introduce delay 1, that is to close the gate perfectly. Then after the gate has been closed, then you now issue another instruction that turn motor A off, then stop. So that is what you will be repeating for motor B and motor C. Motor B and motor C. So that is how to break down the control program. Now, class activity 17, page 28. So I have the question here. So here now you are to create sub 4. You are to create sub 4, that is to open the second gate. Then sub 5 is to close the second gate. Then sub 6 is to open the third gate, and sub 7 is to close the third gate. So just use the application of sub 2 and sub 3 to do this class work. In fact, I have even done it here. So you can go through this. You will see the answer. So I believe you have gotten the concept of creating a control flow chart. So we have come to the end of today's lesson. Thank you, and God bless you.